Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban were long held up as the star-studded example of a Hollywood power couple. He, the rugged country icon. She, the chameleon of film, captivating audiences for decades. Their public personas radiated unity, respect, partnership. But over the years, whispers began. Careers pulling them in opposite directions, emotional fractures that neither would openly admit. And now, with the divorce filed after 19 years of marriage, we're starting to see that the facade might never have been as solid as it looked. In a timeline of revelations laid out by media outlets, insiders now say the split was not a sudden blow, but the end result of an extended process. Reports suggest that Nicole began to feel Keith was no longer supporting her with the same devotion she had given him over the years. And Keith, in turn, was growing increasingly quiet, unresponsive, even distant in public moments when pressed about their bond. In recent interviews following the split, Nicole has been vulnerable and candid. She acknowledged moments of feeling broken, bereft, lost, and yet resolute that the pain cannot be numbed, only endured and eventually transcended. She offered raw remarks. "You're going to have to feel it. You are going to have to feel it, and it's going to feel insurmountable at times. You're going to feel like you're broken. How many times do you have to be taught that you think you know where your life is going, and then it isn't going in that direction?" She also opened up about actively stepping away from toxicity, particularly online hate, which she said can destroy you if you let it in. Her reflections show a woman not just in heartbreak, but in transformation, forced to re-examine identity, expectations, and the foundation on which she built her marriage. While Nicole fights to frame her narrative around growth and survival, sources paint a more dramatic picture of what pushed the marriage over the edge. One insider told People that Nicole wanted to save the marriage until it became clear Keith had emotionally moved on. Others close to her say she believes Keith has not been honest about where his head and heart truly were in recent years. It's also been suggested the separation wasn't sudden. The two allegedly began living apart earlier in the summer, while Nicole juggled major acting projects and Keith launched his world tour. Friends say Nicole felt blindsided, that Keith quietly distanced himself long before she pulled the trigger on divorce. On September 30th, 2025, Nicole officially filed for divorce in Nashville, citing irreconcilable differences and listing the date of separation as the date of filing. In the court documents, she also laid out a detailed parenting plan. She would serve as the primary residential parent for their daughters, Sunday Rose, 17, and Faith Margaret, 14, with Keith having 59 days of custody. The agreement also stipulates that neither party will pay spousal support, and both will share in decision-making for their children's major life events. What's especially striking is how early and how rigid the paperwork seems to have been prepared. Observers note that the separation had likely been months in the making, with many points of agreement, custody, asset division, already laid out in advance. For longtime followers, Nicole's divorce from Keith echoes her earlier high-profile breakup with Tom Cruise. Then, too, the world saw a radiant star reorienting her life in the spotlight. Now, again, we see her stepping into fracturing light, but this time older, wiser, more guarded. Her statements lately evoke that older resilience. She says, "Survived a lot, lived a lot, and now faces pain and reinvention." The parallel is unmistakable. History doesn't end. It reshapes. Putting together the clues, here is the deeper narrative. First, emotional withdrawal. Keith's slamming of doors in interviews, his silence when Nicole's name was spoken, his distance behind the scenes. All signs suggest his heart was slowly moving away. Second, resentment and jealousy. Nicole's bold acting choices may have challenged old dynamics. The Zoom hang-up over her on-screen intimacy is more than PR stunt. It indicates deep discomfort with her autonomy. Third, career divergence. Nicole's momentum in the film world, her embracing of risk, her emotional openness. These may have outpaced what Keith was willing or able to accept. Fourth, betrayal and secrecy. Nicole once confided that she was blindsided by Keith's distance, that she believed in saving the union even when cracks were deep. Finally, acceptance and transformation. Nicole is now in a place of radical self-reflection. Feeling devastation, yes, but also hoping to emerge wiser and more centered in her own truth. So that's the inside story, the hidden realities behind Nicole Kidman's abrupt divorce from Keith Urban. A story of silence, heartbreak, betrayal, and ultimately transformation. If you were drawn into this with me, hit that like button and subscribe so we can dive into more complicated celebrity truths together.